So we're looking at frameworks for reflection, and a very important tool that we can use is reflective writing. So the question is, what is reflective writing? Reflective writing is very much about looking back at things which have happened to us in the classroom, looking back at the events, the behaviours that we've noticed. It's also about helping the reflective practitioner analyze, to think about what has happened, to analyze and begin to understand those occurrences in the classroom. It's therefore an aid for the teacher, for the reflective practitioner to think. It's a thinking tool, and this is very much about helping the reflective practitioner develop a professional stance as a teacher in the classroom. Now, reflective writing is different to ordinary writing. It's much more personal. It helps the teacher think carefully about everyday occurrences from a very critical, detailed point of view. And so what we can say is that reflective writing is descriptive. It describes occurrences which are happening. It also links theory to practice and also questions experience. And these two things together help the reflective practitioner interpret occurrences in the classroom. So one part of reflective writing is description, the other part is interpretation. And then finally, the reflective writing has a focus on improvement, or in other words, looking at outcomes. So there are three components to reflective writing that the reflective practitioner needs to think about. So let's look at an example of reflective writing. And here we can see a teacher has made some notes from a classroom experience. The first part we can see there, the teacher has written, specifically tasks were shared out amongst members of my team. Initially, however, the tasks were not seen as equally difficult by all team members. At this point, you can see in the reflective writing the description of the occurrence. The reflective practitioner is taking time to write a description of what was experienced. Then the reflective writing goes on to talk about the occurrence from a different point of view. For example, social interdependence theory recognizes a type of group interaction called positive interdependence. And it's at this point you can see the reflective practitioner is beginning to analyze and to think deeply about the occurrence. This is the interpretation aspect of reflective writing. And the writing goes on at the end. Ultimately, our group achieved a successful outcome, but to improve the process, we perhaps needed a chairperson to help encourage cooperation. And so at this point in the reflective writing, you can see where the teacher is actually looking at outcomes from the reflection. So in this example, you can see the three components of the reflective writing process. And these components are very important to consider when you're actually using writing as a tool for reflective practice. So there must be description, there must be interpretation, and there must be outcome in order for the writing to be called reflective. And it's only through this tool, this reflective writing, that the reflective practitioner in this way, using description, interpretation and outcome, can actually start to analyze in depth occurrences in the classroom.